Alrighty, so Friday night, the week is finally done and over with, and Bitcoin once again has had a Friday in the red. This is like the fourth or fifth Friday that we've had in the red here. So some shenanigans happening in the markets with Bitcoin on Fridays, it looks like. We'll take a look at obviously what happened with Bitcoin, miners as well. Miners were kind of mixed today. Some did pretty good, some did a little bit worse. We'll cover all that. We have Hive reporting their Q1 results. So their fiscal year ended in March, I believe it was. So now we're in Q1 for them, which is our Q2. We'll go over that, and we'll also take a look at the metrics for the miners as far as we got a total of 8 metrics that we look at, and 6 as well for each month on the miners. We'll see which one came in at number 1 here. I was a little surprised by this one, but we got what we got. So we'll take a look at it as well, and then we'll get into Q&A. It should be pretty short and sweet, hopefully. We got some bullish news on Bitcoin as well, but as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And I got to put in there that I have Cypher in there now. I keep forgetting to do that. I'll do that one of these days here. All right, let's get into Bitcoin here, see what's going on with that. Along with the miners here today. Bitcoin is actually up a little bit in the early hours, and then it obviously came down here. So it's down 1% on the day. It's still, let me see, probably should refresh this, I think, because right now it's stuck for some reason. Let's see, where are we at right now? Let's go Bitcoin on that one. There it is. Okay, so we can see a little bit better. But here's what we got. Bitcoin was down approximately 0.8% on the day. It closed at 117,436. Obviously, we had a really rough day yesterday. But if you look at it here, here's Friday, right? We got Friday being in red here. We go back over here to here. Friday is red. We go back a little bit further again. Over here's Friday again. Friday in the red. We go back a little bit further here. Friday in the red. So it seems like every Friday is in the red here. So you can almost like clockwork. You can pretty much figure out that Friday's gonna be red here, at least historically, recently on it. The markets were a little bit mixed. Dow Jones was up a little bit. NASDAQ was down. S&P was down. Russell 2000 was also down. Ethereum here looks like it was down as well. It was down 2.37%, up a little bit on the new day here. Right now, miners were down for the most part, except a couple here. Bitfarms was down 0.79%. BitDeer was down 2.83% as well. Kang was down a little bit, 0.41. Cypher was down 2%. Cleanspark was down 2%. CORZ was down up 2.13%. Hive was down 1.3%. Hut E was down 2%. IREN was up 3.2%. That one has been doing pretty good here, considering all things. Mara is down 0.51%. Riot was down 7.51%. Definitely gave back all the gains they had yesterday. And then Wolf was up a little bit more here, 2.99%. Got to a high of 923 here. Is that the highest it's been? No, it was much higher here back in November of last year, where it got to 930. So we were pretty close to that right now on today's market as well. MicroStrategy was down 1.78. Galaxy was down 8.56. Coin was down 2.26. What else do I have here? MetaPlanet was down 8.65. Semler was down 3.67. And then small miners were down also. DigiPower, for some reason, was down 20% today. That one got a beating today for sure. Who else was down quite a bit? Mawson was down 6.17% there. Canon was down 0.73%. The Bitcoin miner ETFs were all in the red here. 1%, 2%, 1%, 1% more or less. The Ethereum holding companies were also in the red here today. BitDigital was down 5.6%. BTCS was down almost 1.9%. BMNR being down 4.3%. Game was down a lot, 13.2%. SBET was down 15.5%. So obviously Ethereum was going down. These guys were going down as well. I'm still on the fence on the Ethereum treasury holding companies, whether it's Ethereum, Solana, or Bitcoin, right? I just don't know how much of a premium they should get. My personal thoughts and feelings on this, they should probably not get any more than 1.3. I do understand if they get a little bit higher at certain times when Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Solana are running nicely. But other than that, they should always come back down to being somewhere between 1 and 1.3 is my estimation on it. And then I think that's kind of a fair valuation on those guys here, right? Why should they get like a 2x or a 3x premium on that? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Just because they hodl an asset like Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Solana, or whatever else they're going to be hodling here next. Bitcoin dominance here. We were, let's see here, we're up a little bit here on the day for Friday. We were up just 0.19% to 59.72. We're down a little bit here on the new day for it. So yeah, that's it. Obviously, miners are not trading tomorrow, so we're not going to look at where they are pre-hours or after hours, however you want to look at that. The only thing we're going to take a look at here is Bitcoin here right now for the month of August is only up 1.83%. A lot of the gains that we had here in the beginning of the week are gone. So this week has not been good. We'll definitely see where we end up at, though, on Sunday for the week for Bitcoin. Bitcoin ETF inflows was a huge surprise for me, actually. We saw BlackRock, IBIT, buy in 523 million yesterday on a huge down day in Bitcoin. So people that are maybe disciplined were buying in, right? 523 million. And people that were, I hate to say, but maybe retail was selling out. We saw that obviously in Fidelity, Bitwise, ARK, they were all selling like crazy here, along with VanEck. It looks like, but man, this is definitely a surprise. I thought IBIT was going to be selling out as well, but smart money maybe is looking at it differently, right? A buying opportunity, which is the way we should be looking at it as well. And today we're down, again, 128 million on it. We'll see where IBIT comes in at this point. But yeah, this was a definite surprise for me. All right, some good news stories that we do have here on Bitcoin here. We just talked about this, right? BlackRock bought 524 million roughly Bitcoin for its spot Bitcoin ETF yesterday. Market was down a lot. Those guys were buying. Well, not just BlackRock, but it's also their customers that were buying a lot, which is great. And then El Salvador bought more Bitcoin today for their strategic reserve. They've now bought Bitcoin every day for over 1,000 days in a row. That's conviction, if you want to call. I'll call it conviction. I think that's just huge conviction there. They bought another 1 BTC here, looks like. So they just continue to stack sats, which is great, right? A country's buying Bitcoin to put it on their strategic reserve. Next here, Wells Fargo increases Bitcoin exposure from 26 million to 160 million in Q2. The banks are quietly buying. Again, this is all going to be happening here in the background. We're going to eventually see Bitcoin, get to new all-time highs. We just did that this week to 124,000 plus, but we're going to eventually get to 150,000, 175, 180, 200,000. This is all coming. And then finally, last good news story here, Japan's Meta planned to issue 3.8 billion in preferred shares to buy more Bitcoin. They're stacking more, which then again takes the coins off the exchanges, off the OTCs. It just basically reduces the supply out there. And that's a good thing. We need that. We need Bitcoin to go up because of that. All right, so that's it. And the good news stories that we do have here, let's take a look at Hive here really quick. Hive announced their fiscal Q1 2026 record revenue of 45.6 million, adjusted EBITDA of 44.6 million, and an average of 8.9 exahash, representing 45% quarter-over-quarter growth in hash rate. So they are definitely firing on all cylinders there, which is nice to see. And let's take a look at some of the details here, or highlights at least. So we already talked about the revenue there. Let's see here. They're saying basically from strong Bitcoin mining and from digital currency mining and from high performance computing as well. What else we have here? Digital currency mining revenue was 40.8 million, up 44.9% sequentially from fiscal Q4 2025. Let's see, Bitcoin production was 406 Bitcoin, up 34% from the prior quarter as well. And HPC revenue, HPC revenue was a record 4.8 million during the quarter, up 59.8%. So that's a nice growth there as well. So they're doing really good on that as well. G&A was only 5.8 million, up slightly from the 5.3 million. They attribute that mostly to Hive's global expansion in digital currency mining, particularly in Paraguay, and growth in its Bud's HPC business as well. And then gross operating margins was 15.8 million gross operating margin or 34.7%, up from 8.8 million or 28.2. So that's good there also. And then net income, GAAP net income of 35 million, primarily from net realized and unrealized gains of 23.2 million on digital currencies. So Bitcoin hodl there. And 8.2 million non-cash unrealized gain related to its equity investments, and 16.4 million gain on change in fair value of derivative assets. Adjusted EBITDA of 44.6 million in adjusted EBITDA. Okay, so that is pretty good there. They do have a webcast of their presentation. It looks like it was recorded, it wasn't live, so you can ask any questions. But you can look at it on their YouTube channel if you go to the press release and go here, basically clicking here to see that YouTube video there. And let's take a look at their update here. So right now, they did increase quite a lot of shares. They have now 204 million shares roughly outstanding. Stock price today was 222, so that gives them a 453 million market cap right now. Performance over the last 12 weeks is kind of mixed here, right? They're basically flat from 12 weeks ago. They're up 9.5 from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks, they're down 7.2. And then last week, they were up 1.97% as it was. So, and as you guys know, I really like the growth that they have there. I really do. Love that they're growing to 25 exahash. I think that'll help with some of their costs as well. As long as they keep their costs in check, right? The increased revenue should decrease the percentage of their SG&A and everything else compared to their revenues, which is good. The only concern that I have is them not having any operations, obviously, in the United States, as you guys know, for Bitcoin mining or even for data centers, things like that. It's all outside of the United States. I still think there might be a slight hindrance for the stock price to do well because of that. But I could be proven wrong, right? Continuing on here. Trading hash rate 15 exahash, right there. Getting 25 exahash by the United States Thanksgiving, which is at the end of November. Bitcoin HODL, I probably should have checked into that. I forgot to check into that, what their HODL was at the end of June for this reporting period. I will update that if I can find that information in there as well. But right now I have 610, so that might be off a little bit on it. Going down here, currently their estimated annual run rate, probably will have to get that updated because they should be. Let me update that right now because I'm using some HPC as well in here. It's actually, what do they have? 4.2 million. Let's do this. I'm going to update this really quick. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. I forgot. A lot of things to update on these sheets here. So they had 4.8 divided by 3 times 12. Okay, there we go. That gets us to about 300 million run rate right now as it is. Right, so a slight improvement there. Quarterly revenue here have been increasing since Q2 of last year, which was their September ending quarter there, which with their hash rate growing, Bitcoin price going up as well, this definitely helps them out. But they finished out at 45.6 million here in Q1, which was our Q2. And then the current quarter, I'm estimating around 76 million, maybe even more than that, depending where Bitcoin price goes and along with where their hash rate grows in the next basically 2 months or so. But that's a really good improvement here over where they were. That's almost a 4x in growth in just over a year. So that's looking really good there. Last 4 quarters operating cost minus depreciation, 34.37 million there. Slight increase, but they installed more machines. That's understandable there. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at 71.6. So an improvement there from Q4, which was 77.5. Still like to see that come down even more, and I think it will as they install more hash rate. BTC mined, they said I think 406, I had 405, so we're pretty close on that. Debt to equity, lower is obviously better here, 0.12, that's really good. Current ratio, higher is better, 3.4, so that's also looking good. Total current assets, 180 million, and then total current liabilities, 52.8 million. Healthy balance sheet there, that all looks great there. Going down here to the financials that we can see here. Total current assets did decrease to 180 from 245 million from the prior quarter. Total assets, however, increased to 628 million from 531, almost 100 million in increase there. Total current liabilities decreased to 52 million from 65, so that's nice to see. Total liabilities also decreased to 68 from 82. That's looking good. Total liabilities and stockholder equity increased to 628 million from 531. And then going down to the revenue side of things, Bitcoin mining, obviously 40.7 million here. Nice increase from the 28. High performance also, nice increase, 4.8 from the 3 million. So that's really good increase, and that has been increasing here over the last 4 quarters, it looks like. They kind of went down on Q2 of last year for them, but it has been improving. So that's nice to see there. Operating and maintenance costs did increase, but that's more hash rate, more power, everything else, that's going to go up. So that's understandable there. Let's see here. Gross profit depreciation went up also to 22 million from 15 million. So with all that, they came in at negative 6 million there on gross profit. Again, in disposable assets, a revaluation of digital currencies, that was 23 million. So there's that. Total, what else do we have here? Expenses, general administrative. Okay, 5.7, up a little bit from 5.2. That's still not bad. Foreign exchange gains, 2.8. Share-based compensation, a little bit increase as well, 5.7 from 4.6. That got us to a negative 8.6 there. And then with everything else in here, what do we have? The revaluation, change in fair value derivative liability was 16 million. Unrealized loss on investment was 8 million there. And that got us to a total of 26.6 million. Net loss gain income from period was 35 million there. Then we go all the way down here, take out some other stuff. Net loss and comprehensive income loss was 36 million positive, which gave them 19 cents per share EPS. For basic and diluted came in at 18 cents, and they were using 182 million shares and 182 and 192 million shares. And that one. Going up here, so all that below looks really good here right now. Going to their cost to mine, right? We talked about that, 71,000 here. It looks like, so they still need to lower that. They need to increase more hash rate and things like that. You can see all the other numbers here. Revenue was 45 million total. General administrative compensation was 11 million, so that's 25% of that. So that's actually better than where it was the prior quarter, which was 31%. And I believe as they install more hash rate, revenues go up as well. That should decrease. I would like to see that below 10%, ideally. That's kind of what I would like to see. Hash rate, or not hash rate, shares. Shares increased 23% quarter over quarter. So a lot of dilution there. They did buy the site from Bitfarms. They probably used the ATM on it to do that. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it here. So I think they're on the right track, right? Increasing their hash rate, because all these guys need to get to a certain scale to cover their expenses, basically. If you don't have if you don't get to scale, whether it's 25 exahash for them or it could be even 40 exahash for them, I don't know. We'll see when they get to 25 exahash, and then depending where the Bitcoin price is as well, you need to get to a certain scale in order to be cash flow positive, basically, from regular operations, things like that. I think they are cash flow positive, though. If you look at their numbers here, what do they have? 45 million there. Operation and maintenance costs, high performance was, okay, so that's roughly 29. We're looking at 30 million. Based on this, they are cash flow positive that I'm seeing here, at least right now. On that. Take out general administrative as well, not including compensation there for stock-based. Yeah, they should be like, 10 million in the positive or something like that, more or less. So, yeah, they're cash flow positive at least, which is good on that one. Based on all this information, if we look at their last 3 quarters and the current quarter information that we do have here for them, I'm at 420 to 630 with a P of 10, right? So I'm definitely discounting them a little bit because they don't have any operations in the United States. They're at 222. I do think that they're still way undervalued, right? But again, will they get that proper valuation because they don't have any operations in the United States? I don't know. Right now, they're being valued on, if we lower their number enough, let's go to 5. So they're kind of at a P of 5 right now, but I think they should get at least probably like a P of 10 potentially here. And then when we look at the prior month operations and the revenue that they received from that times 12 months, including the HPC business there now, I'm between 735 and 1102. Will they get there? I don't know. But I definitely think that they're undervalued, right? It's just a matter of investors and how they view them, I guess, with no operations in the United States. Could that be detrimental to them? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That's the only concern I have there. Other than that, operation-wise, they're great. They always have really good hash rate, uptime as well. Operations are great. And, yeah, they just need to continue to execute the way they have been, at least in the last couple of months, with the growth and everything else. All right, so that's it on Hive. Now that's my thoughts, my 2 cents on that one. And let's take a look at the miners here for the monthly here really quick. So on this one, we always look to a couple metrics. We look at month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, BTC per exahash efficiency, BTC mined, days mined, current hash rate, and HODL. And then for the 6 metrics, we take out current hash rate and HODL. Just look more up for operations month-over-month, more or less at that point. Okay, so month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, we can see that Kango actually had the most, almost 58% there growth, and that was mainly because they got an additional, I think it was 15 exahash from Bitmain that they purchased. Those are all hosted. So it's not like they have to install those things or anything like that. It's just basically it was a transaction. Here's cash or shares, and here you go. Here's the machines. You get them, you get access to them, and you can start mining basically instantly, right? So that's a result of that. BitDeer installed the second most, but they actually installed their own infrastructure, their own machines and things like that. So that was a 35.2% increase. Hive was at 32.4, which is also really good there. Cypher had a 12.8% increase in hash rate. MRO was up 1% roughly. IREN, Cleanspark, Riot, and CORZ were flat, right? No increase in hash rate there in July. As far as current hash rate, Mara still has the highest at 58.9 exahash. IREN and Cleanspark Kango all have 50 exahash. Riot's at 35 exahash, Bitdeer at 22, Cypher at 18, Core at 18, Hive at 15 there right now as it is. So that's kind of the way those have stacked up. And then BTC per exahash efficiency, that's basically what is your, kind of like what your uptime is as well. Part of that, if you get efficient, you can operate more, you generate more revenue based on that as well. And IREN came in number 1. IREN had a great month in July. They were up at 14.56 BTC per exahash efficiency, which is really good. Riot came in second, 13.63. Hive in number 3 spot with 13.4. Cleanspark number 4 spot with 13.42. And Kango at number 5 spot with 13. Month-over-month BTC mined percentage. Kango came in number 1 with 44% increase. Bitdeer number 2 spot with 38.9. Cypher at number 3 spot with 33. Hive with 23%, so that's number 4 spot. And IREN number 5 spot at 17.42%, followed by Riot at a slight increase of 7.56. Mara was down 1.4%. Cleanspark was down 2%. Core was down 3.8% month-over-month for July. Bitcoin mined. IREN came in number 1. 728 Bitcoin mined there, even beating out Mara, which even has more hash rate, but they obviously curtailed more. Mara came in 703 Bitcoin. Cleanspark, 3rd spot, 671. Kango, number 4 spot with 650. Riot, number 5 spot with 484. Bitdeer at 282. Cypher, 214. Hive, 203. And Core at 179. Days mined, it was pretty close here. Hive and IREN were neck and neck on this one. Hive just barely beat them out. Hive was at 28.86 and IREN was at 28.83. Right, this is estimated based on what they report as Bitcoin being mined and the machines being installed. That's kind of where I got them at. Riot came in number 3 spot with 26.7. Bitdeer with 26.4 came in number 4 spot, and Cleanspark with 26.28 came in number 5 spot, followed by Kango, Mara, Cypher, and Core at that point. Next, we look at HODL here. Mara has the highest HODL position, 50,000 plus. Riot second spot with 19,000 and Cleanspark with 12,000 plus. Kango number 4 spot now with 4,530. Bitdeer 1,667, and then Cypher, Core, Hive, and IREN with 0 there. Bitcoin sold here. Mara didn't sell anything, I believe. They actually had a did they sell anything? Why am I getting a negative on them? I know Kango didn't sell anything. I know Mara didn't sell anything either, so those two are like at 0 there. Cypher was at 27% sold. Bitdeer sold 41%. Cleanspark sold 85%. Riot 97%. IREN, Hive sold everything, I'm guessing, along with Core potentially. So that's how they all got graded here on this, right? The grading or the scoring goes, best miner gets like 1 point, worst miner gets like 8 points or 9 points, whatever that total number of miners is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 it is. All right, so total metrics scores, lower is better. We look at all the 8 metrics here and 6 metrics here as well. So where do you guys think these miners came in? Who came in number 1? I was surprised by this one, but I can understand why. So let's get into it. And I talked about it a little bit here in the beginning. Kango came in at number 1 with 25 points, right? Huge growth in hash rate, huge growth in Bitcoin mined over month. But then again, that was the 15 exahash that was installed basically overnight for them. That helps out tremendously. It always does. So, right, they're asset light. So take it for what it's worth, okay? Mara came in number 2 spot with 31 points here for the 8 metrics, followed by IREN at 33, along with Bitdeer and Riot. Those guys were tied for the 3rd spot. Cleanspark got the 4th spot, excuse me, with 36 points. Hive with 41, Cypher with 44, and Core with 63 points. Based on the 6 metrics, not including HODL or current hash rate, Kango still came in number 1 with 19 points, followed by IREN now in number 2 spot with 22 points. Bitdeer 24 points with number 3 spot, followed by Hive at 26 points at number 4 spot, and Riot at 28, number 5 spot there. And you can see everybody else, Cleanspark, Cypher, and Core towards the end there. Those guys did not have a great month. And here's how everybody stacks up individually. Kango was really good on, obviously, month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, month-over-month BTC mined. Current hash rate, obviously really good. Bitcoin sold, also really good there. That helped him out to be the top miner here, it seems like, on that. Next is Mara. Mara, really good on current hash rate, BTC HODL, and BTC sold, right? But not so great on operations, it looks like. IREN, really good on efficiency there, on Bitcoin mined, days mined, current hash rate, all that stuff. That helped him out as well. Bitdeer, here's how they stacked up on all this stuff, followed by Riot as well. And then we got Cleanspark here Hive. Hive's kind of above average on quite a few of these things. That's why I pushed them down a little bit. Cypher are also kind of high on some of these things as well. And then Core, really high on some of the stuff. Plus, we don't have data on some of the stuff for what they hodl and things like that. Yeah, so there's that. And then we look at the total metrics for 12-month averages. Lower is obviously better here. So this is taking into account the last 12 months of data. We still have Cleanspark at #1 spot with 25 points for the 8 metrics here. Over the last year, they've been the best performer here on average. Mara second with 27, Kango with 29. Kango only have, 2 months, 3 months of data on them, so take that with a grain of salt a little bit there. Riot with #4 spot, IREN #5 spot here. And if we take out the hodl and hash rate over the last 12 months, Cleanspark still comes in #1. Kango, like I said before, take that with a grain of salt. Mara #2 spot, IREN #3 spot, Hive #4 spot, Riot #5 spot, as it is. So there's the 12 months of metrics, and then miners, which one was the best one? Kind of interesting to take a look at that as well. I like to definitely check it over a longer period of time, evens things out a little bit, because sometimes the miners could have a bad day, or a bad month actually, for whatever reason, but some of these guys that are really great operators, you hardly see that. So it is what it is, though. There's all the data that I track on everything, so you guys have access to that as well. I'll give this uploaded tomorrow, probably, to the Patreon members, right? Link for that is down in the description if you'd like to become a member, help support what I do, and get access to all these spreadsheets as well. That's my sales pitch. That's the only sales pitch you guys ever will get from me. That or merch. If you guys want merch, merch is in the YouTube store there. But it doesn't seem like you guys are interested in that, which is okay. I totally understand. Okay, what else we got? That's it. Let's get into Q&A here. We're going to call it a day. Wow, we're doing good. We're only 26 minutes in. This is going to be a nice short Friday. You can go watch a movie or something like that. All right, let's go here. Questions and answers session. As always, if you preface those with a question mark or a Q, greatly appreciate it. Also, be kind, be generous, be polite out there with everybody. There's many different varying opinions out there with everything. So just keep that in mind, right? Not everybody has to agree with your opinion. You're free to have your opinion as always, right? This is, after all, America. Let's see what we got here as far as questions. I'm going to scroll my way up as always and work my way down. And I did see a super chat there from Ed. Let's see if this will pop up. There it is. Ed just super chat. Went deep into wolf calls in April. Just sold today. Congrats. I'm sure you're nicely in the green there. But thank you so much for the super chat. All right. So we got that one. What else here? Okay. Cathal Gray is asking a question. Did you review the digital earnings? No, I have not. I have to go through those. I'll do that maybe on Sunday's show. We'll go through that. That one will be interesting to see how that's going over there. Mr. X says, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday to you as well. Triad says, I should have listened to James from AI and invested and avoided the miners this cycle. Should have focused on IBIT. IBIT is basically a pure Bitcoin play there, right? But you could have also gotten into IREN, and you would have done really good with IREN. Roger says, IREN did it holistically. Wolf got the mega candle out of nowhere. Well, they didn't get it out of nowhere. They got it because I think it's connections. I think it's people that they know, right? Stanley Druckenmiller has invested in them. He's got connections. I think that helps. I think connections help out tremendously in business in general. It's who you know. It's not how much money you have or anything like that. I think it's more of who you know, right? Who can grease your palms a little bit, or whose palms can you grease a little bit. It always helps out. Neil says August still sucks. We're halfway through it. Yeah, we're only up, 1%, 2% on Bitcoin. That hasn't been great. Okay, Mr. X says, if you are buying now, you want to buy the undervalued miner now. I would agree. Roger says, buying undervalued isn't always smart by that metric. That's Bitfarms or Hive, and they didn't do much this cycle. Yeah. Again, those two are Canadian companies, right? So I think that has something to do with it there, why they haven't maybe performed as well as they probably maybe should have. But I think with Bitfarms, that might change. They are more now in the United States. We'll see if that helps out, right? And then that might be a tell. If Bitfarms does actually pretty well going forward here, and if Hive kind of lingers, that might be a tell that you need to have operations in the United States more so, maybe. Let's Your trade says Zach exited Cleanspark. I am not looking back at Cleanspark ever again. Zach exited? Well, Zach got basically kicked out of the company, I think, or was forced to leave the company. So I don't think he exited for any reasons other than he was forced out. Yeah. Okay. Trade says only Zach. This one. Only reason why I was huddle Cleanspark was Zach. Since he's gone, I'm gone too. Okay. I huddle Cleanspark because of their operations and everything else, and Zach was a part of it, but he wasn't the whole package there. And Matt, I've spoken to, like I've said before, I've spoken more to Matt than I have to Zach in the past, and I think Matt is going to do a pretty good job there. I think he's more focused on the community and investors in general. He's more open. He's more open to discussions as well. You can reach him out there, so I think that might be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. Regis says, this cycle, the best, safest play was Bitcoin, ETFs, then the leverage risk plays, it was MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy to a certain point, right? MicroStrategy hasn't done really nothing since last of November. It's nothing been going down here. Trade says, super frustrating Cleanspark performance. Yes, depending when you got into it as well. I mean, at certain points this past month or so, I've been up on it 130%, 100% now. I think I'm only up 80% on it. I think it will still run with Bitcoin going up, but we'll see. EH says other miners are still going to take off. Wolf is just ahead of itself, in my opinion. Possibly, yeah. I mean, with Wolf, you saw that last year in November when they got the deal with Core 42. If you remember, stock ran up like crazy, and then it kind of lingered for a while and started going back down because you know what the revenue is going to be in there, and then you're always going to be chasing that next customer, the next deal to pump the stock up. Because if you don't have anything there, the stock's going to go slowly down until you announce something else new, I think. DFly, can you look at SBET MNAV? It looks like it's around 1.13. Please confirm it. Oh, again, DFly, I'm sorry. I haven't pulled that data in yet on them. How many? Let me take a look at it here. How many Ethereum coins do they have right now? Let me see that. Where's it at? Ethereum Treasury Companies. And I probably should have. Let me see. Your SBET right now is at. Let me see what I'm showing. SBET right now I'm showing at 1.4. But if they have more Ethereum holdings than I have listed here, that might be the reason why. I have them at 521,000. You might have something else, but I'm showing 1.4. So if they got more Ethereum, that might be the reason why. Okay, I need to update this, and I'll update this over the weekend. It's just, I'm only one man. I do this in my spare time, as you guys know. I work a full-time job as well, spend time with the family and everything else, and try to do this. Not easy at all, but I love doing this, and hopefully you guys at least get something out of it. Okay, let's go back here. See, Roger says we're not looking for just a takeoff. We need 2 to 3x of what BTC does. If we don't get that, it was not worth it for risky to reward play. Yeah, I would agree with you there. DFly, thoughts on CEP? What's the MNAV on this one? Do I have this CEP on that one? I don't think I do. I don't have data on that one, so I don't know. All right. No. Why are some people still critical of Bitfarms from a mining perspective? They're getting out of it, and for good reason, and you know that. They're actually pulling it off in a stellar way. Yeah, I think they're doing the right things, right? I mean, a lot of the revenues that they're getting right now are from Bitcoin mining. Well, it is all Bitcoin mining, and that's helping them transition into potentially getting into HPC AI. So that is playing a critical part there as well in them. So I hope they don't forget that. All right, Cleanspark is so undervalued, manipulated stock for institutions to own the most cheap shares. It does seem like that. How was IREN's earnings release? It's not out yet. They're going to be releasing it 28th or the 31st of this month. I can't remember. One of those 2 days. That's coming up here. All right. L, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. L, I'll call you L. If cycle repeat, September should see red maybe come back to 105. Historically, September has not been great for us. If we get rate cuts in September, that might change. We might actually be in the green. All right. Benjamin says, question, TeraWolf with Google is better because they own 8% of Wolf than Core 42. Yes, it is a better deal that way, right? But then again, it could be one of those things where Google buys them out. You could possibly see. I could possibly see that happening. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't discount that might not happen. You know, Google or somebody else may try to buy them out. All right, Cyrus says IREN will go over 50. Man, I would love that. $50 would be fantastic. That would be a nice reward for all this pain in the miners over the last 3 years. If that one at least goes to 50, at that point I would be close to, like, I think $750,000 in profit at that point. I think it was somewhere around there. So I would be happy camper at that point. Roger says only miner to beat BTC is IREN from bear market bottoms. In terms of probabilities, it wasn't worth it to be in miners at all. Well, if you get into IREN, I mean, Cleanspark has done good at times. Right now, it's languishing a little bit. We'll see where it goes. Cathal question, with the bad PPI inflation data, do you think we're stuck for another 2 weeks? No, I think we'll eventually start going up. As long as people still believe that the Fed is going to lower interest rates in September, I think we will go up. And again, the PPI is not as much of an impact on the Fed's decision as the CPI is and other things. But, you know, PPI could lead to a CPI increase, right? Because that's producer price index. What are the producers paying? And if they're not passing it on to consumers, CPI, then we might be okay. But if they're going to start passing that tariffs on or something like that, then yeah, things might be not great. Let's see. Bang Bang says saw something that took the valuation of Wolf's AI deal, applied that to IREN Bitdeer, and it got them to above 100 share, including BTC mining. Would be awesome if these all got deals this year. Yeah, that was based on if the whole 200 or 2 gigawatts for IREN was included in it, right? So what's the likelihood of that? I'd love to see that, but I would be happy if they get 300 megawatts, 500 megawatt deal, or something like that. 2 gigawatts is a tough sell for somebody, but you never know. They might be able to do that. But yeah, if they do that, then they could definitely run to that range there. All right, John says, you never talk about WGMI, ROI 53% 1 year, so we're sweating Cleanspark when you could have mentioned WGMI. I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm sorry. You guys, I mentioned it, and I talk about it in the beginning of the show where I always talk about the miners and the ETFs and things like that. But WGMI has done pretty well this year and from the bottom as well. I got into the bottom, luckily, back in January and February of 2023. I put in everything that I could into it. My retirement account. So that one is doing really well for me right now. I'm really happy with the results there, but that was another way that you could go into it as well. Yeah. All right. What about the incredibly indirect mining cost of Hive? This makes them very difficult to ever be profitable. And that's the whole part about getting to scale, right? You need to get to scale in order to bring your costs down, more or less. And with them getting 25 exahash, will that be enough for them? I don't know. But it should at least bring down some of their costs for operations, overhead, things like that. It'll lower those costs at least and make it look a little bit better there. Okay. Trey says, man, WGMI miner ETFs beat all the miners. That's crazy. Did it beat all the miners? Let's take a look at WGMI here really quick. I haven't really looked at that, though. I know I'm up nicely from the bottom. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? I want to go here. WGMI. Okay, so here's that one. So if you look at the bottom, where was the bottom back in? Right there. There was the bottom there, right? This was, December. So if you got in at that point, you're doing really, really good here. Let's see here. From here, if we go to the top, was only 690%. And then where we are right now, 570%. IREN, on the other hand, is up like 1,700% from the bottom, or bottomed out. So that one actually beat out. But nonetheless, that one is doing pretty good here recently. Overall, it's doing not that bad. Let's go back here. Okay. Bang Bang says that's because they rotate the miners they hold. That is true. All right. DeFi says SBET has 728,000. Okay, so if we pull that in, SBET 728,000. Just put that in. It's 728,000. What we have them at now? Here you go. Here's the. Do this. Get a little bit bigger. Then I'm at 101. It looks like. Again, but depending on how many shares they have out there, number of shares, I'm at 139 or 139 million. Yeah. So that would get them at 1.01 right now. So that's that's pretty even right now as it is with everything. So not much of a premium there. What else do we have here? BMNR. I know BMNR, I believe, has more ETH even now. I don't know how much they increased that, but that seems kind of high to me right now as it is. Again, like I said, I got to get this updated. I'll get that done over the weekend here to have the latest numbers on that one. Okay. Christian, how do you see Cleanspark coming back to all-time high? Thanks and great what you do for us. Oh, you're very welcome. How do they get there? Bitcoin price has got to go up. I think maybe if they change their tune on HPCI potential also, that might help the stock there. They're not diluting anything since last November, so I'm surprised that the stock has not been doing that great. The only reason I can think of is because they are a pure play Bitcoin miner, right? They haven't stated anything. I think maybe in the conference call they stated something that they're maybe if there's a possibility or if there's probability that they get a deal or something like that, maybe they would entertain it at that point, something like that along the lines, right? I'm paraphrasing more or less, but I think that would help out. But Bitcoin's going to go up. All right. S says, hang in there, guys. Payday comes right at the end. It's always brutal. Hold. If you make it all the way. I believe that too. Comedy Shorts super chat of $8. Thank you so much. Is now a good time to sell Mara and move into Cypher? If so, why? Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I mean, Mara's trying to get into HPCI as well right now. Their operations for Bitcoin mining historically have not been great. They have a huge hodl position. They're not being valued properly on that, I think. Either that or they're being valued properly on their hodl, but not valued on their operations. Their operations historically have had issues where they have a hard time maintaining close to 100% uptime, other than maybe a month or two, and then things go things go down for them, unfortunately. So I don't know. Cypher has HPCI potential. They're only getting to 23 exahash with their hash rate growth. Their costs are still kind of high in there, but they say because they have some people from Google and others that have data center experience. If they get an HPC ID or something like that, that will help out there. It's tough. I have Cypher. I have more shares of Cypher than I do Mara, mainly because of the operations there. I think are better. They have possibilities of sites for HPCI. That's why I'm in it. So you got to kind of figure out what you want to do with that one. Okay. Trade says, James from Invest Answers was also frustrated that Ethereum got better spotlight by Tom Lee instead of Sol. Wiley didn't understand the Sol have all meter beaten. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what, I'm not going to get into it, but that's one of the reasons I'm not big into altcoins or anything like that. Carl, let's see here. Like others, took some wolf profits and added to Bitfarms 140,000 shares. Holy cow. And Hive 50,000 shares. I have other miners as well, as mentioned, back in March, including Cleanspark, IREN, Mara. Very nice. Nice positions there. All right. Trade, what other narratives does miners need? If BTC were tax-free, will that miner be attractive? Tax-free, I think if they do it tax-free, it's going to be tax-free on small purchases, small amounts, right? If you take out 100,000 or something like that to sell it, you're going to probably end up paying something on it. That might help. I think having finally a Bitcoin bill for the United States where they can, put it on Treasury, do whatever they want to do with it. Yeah, I think that would help out as well. John asks, why Bitfarms over Cypher? Well, I actually bought more Cypher. Well, I didn't buy more. I have more shares in Bitfarms than I do in Cypher, but Cypher is also more expensive. But I bought this past week 3,500 shares of Cypher and 600 shares of Bitfarms. Okay. Carl says, I like technicals. Bitfarms has set a 6-month W pattern and been building a bull flag since July 2022. Let's see what happens. Retirement is awesome, but would like some more cushion. Okay. All right. DeFi. Worst mistake I made is sold my Cypher months ago to buy Cleanspark. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. Sometimes you got to live with your decisions, though, right? You live and learn. Cathal says SBET has no premium as it only makes $2 million in 90 days. Let's see. DeFi SharpLink reports second quarter 2025 results. Now holds 720. Okay, we put that in there. Can you update model and see, please? Yes, I will update it over the weekend. So we'll talk about it maybe on Sunday. Okay. All right, I've come up to all you guys' questions here. We're going on 45 minutes. I think we're going to call it a day here. Enjoy our weekend. Enjoy the Friday night. Have an adult beverage. Watch a good movie. Have some popcorn, something like that. Spend time with the family as well. I wish you guys a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are able to enjoy it outside, right? Get some grass, touch some, get outside, get some air. Get away from these miners, get away from the stock prices and everything, and just kind of enjoy life as it is, because life does fly by, unfortunately. Let's see here. Benjamin says, I own Cleanspark, IREN, and Wolf. What I'm disappointed of Cleanspark, they only do Cleanspark, but they're second to IREN. Yeah. And MIGI says, when IREN went up to 22, do you think it has anything to do with the possible hyperscaler deal we don't know about now that we know Wolf managed to get one? I think the run-up has been because of, one, their great operations in Bitcoin mining. Profitable quarter probably coming in again, so they're going to be having, this is the third quarter they're going to be profitable, I think. It might be with EPS. And then the potential for HPCI. I think those are the driving factors there right now as it is. All right, so that's it. Again, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you all for coming in. As always, love you all. I will see you guys on Sunday.